All right. So let's get this party started. All right, we all ready?
Yeah.
All right, going to live to YouTube now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2020 Notre Dame Shakespeare Festival and first ever series of online offerings. Here we are in 2020. And when we began this effort, I asked the company to please consider offerings they might love to bring you. And they responded in a huge, in a deluge of terrific offerings. And first and foremost among them was Cheryl Turski. Cheryl's taught for us for a good 7 or 8 years, and then on beyond prior to that. And I'm thrilled that you get a chance to meet her tonight. With her are a good 8 or 9 or so of our apprentice company and some guests. And then yourselves, of course, beyond just the environs of the Zoom call out on YouTube Live. If you haven't seen it, by the way, yet, here's a quick shout out to our terrific new website, shakespeare.nd.edu. I'll ask you to bookmark it because this series goes on beyond just tonight. Every Tuesday and Thursday for the next 8 weeks, we're going to have offerings in either one of 3 categories: training, as tonight, performance, and education. I'll be introducing the training classes. Deb Gasper will introduce the education classes, and Christy Burgess will introduce the performance classes. We wanted you to have a chance not only to peek behind the curtain and see some of our process, but also to join in and participate. And you get a chance to do that tonight. So follow and join in on Cheryl's class on Laban movement for Shakespeare. I'm going to just briefly introduce and embarrass Cheryl Turski because we're very fond of her at the Notre Dame Shakespeare Festival. She's an alum of the University of Notre Dame. She's currently assistant professor of theater and voice and movement at Wayne State University and tenured there. We're really thrilled about that. She's also choreographed for the American Repertory Theater, not only for its main stage, but also its Institute for Advanced Theater Training. She is an actor and has performed regionally, not only for ART, but South Seacoast Repertory Theater, Boston Public, Foothills Theater, Wellesley Summer Players, and Chicago Dance Crash, which I really wish I saw. She's also choreographed for ART in productions that have gone on to receive residencies in Moscow, which I think is tremendously exciting, Moscow Art Theater, where she spent a semester studying. So that's hugely exciting. What typically we've asked Cheryl to do each summer is to teach the movement classes, but her skills go way far and above and beyond that. And so she's been a tremendous contributor to our artistic product at the Shakespeare Festival. I am thrilled that you get a chance to take her class. This is that fun part where I get to mimic James Lipton, Cheryl, and I get to say, your students. May he rest in peace, he's gone, right? So yeah, take it away, Cheryl.
Hi, everyone. So that was the nicest intro ever. Thank you so much, Grant. It's really exciting to be here. I'm going to talk a little bit about Laban, and there are a couple ways to call it. People call it either Laban movement analysis or Laban movement studies. So I'll give you just a little bit of a mini lecture on Laban, and then we will actually dive in and do some moving, which is really what Laban is all about. So Laban is a system of analyzing movement in a non-judgmental and objective way. So instead of watching a performer and saying something like, oh, I want you to move more elegantly, or that person is moving in a tired way, both of those are somewhat judgmental, right? And so we're not exactly sure what a director or what a viewer is seeing or looking for. Laban gives us terminology to identify what we're seeing or what we're feeling as the mover in a way that could be repeated, so that if you were telling somebody who knew the Laban language what was going on in the Laban language, they could repeat it. He originally came up, he was from a while ago, y'all. He was from a while ago. He was in the 20s through 40s was when he did a lot of his work in Austria. But he was primarily focused on finding ways to objectively and non-judgmentally record movement the way we record music. So this was obviously before cameras and video cameras. So that aspect of it is it's not entirely lost, but it's not the primary reason we use it. We use it as actors to find non-habitual ways of moving. So we first can identify oh gosh, I really have a bias toward light movements or quick movements. And then, oh, my character's really, it's really not that. I'm gonna have to mix it up. How do I do that? Oh, okay, I can use some of this language, use some of these terms to explore, again, in a non-judgmental and objective way. There's so much to Laban movement analysis, books and books and books and books. We're gonna do like just a tiny drop of it today. And we are going to focus on what Laban called effort. So effort is how we are moving, or the quality of our movement. He also has he has books on space, which is where you're moving. He has books on body, which is what is moving. And he has books on shape, which is sort of about your relationship to how you're moving. But we are going to focus on effort, which is the quality of movement, okay? And there are 4 effort factors. So we're going to start by going through each effort factor and exploring the qualities within each factor. If you are sitting at home and you just want to listen, great. If you want to get up and do it with us, I'm not going to stop you. No one can see you. I'm going to be going crazy in my living room here in Detroit, so you're welcome to join me. So the first thing we're going to do, the first factor in the Laban effort system is weight. So what is weight? Weight is our intention. Weight is our relationship to our own weight, okay? So let's start with a strong weight. If you live in an apartment building, maybe this is the moment to let them know you're there. People below me are gonna be mad about it. But find some strong weight, okay? Some images that might come up is a boxer or punching or something big and strong. It is strong weight. You are using the force of your body against something else, against the environment. You can use it in your lower body. You can also use it in your upper body. Strong weight, strong weight. Do a couple more things to get yourself into strong weight. You can vocalize. Sometimes I like to find what vowel sounds go with strong weight. Okay? You could think of some images that come to mind. Maybe you're pushing an iceberg or a boulder. You're using your body weight against the environment, okay? Great. Strong weight. Now, let's explore the opposite of strong weight. Spoiler alert, it's light. So if we were using our body weight against the world, start to feel as though gravity has no hold on you, right? And so instead of using your force, instead of having a strong intention in the world, instead now you are very lightly using your weight. You don't want to, your intent is light. Your intent is light. And it can be with your upper body and your lower body. And you might think of images that come to mind with light weight, like a bubble or a snowflake, or maybe like a ballerina, or anything that almost doesn't make an imprint. Sometimes I like to think I'm walking across a beach and I'm trying not to have any imprint in the sand. Lightweight, lightweight. Go back to strong, make an imprint in the sand. Use your force, use your weight. Go back to light, go back to light. Find the difference between using your weight against the environment, strong intention, and a light intention. Great, excellent. And you can just hold for a moment. So that's weight, light and strong, light and strong. Our next, we're just like gonna cruise through this, you guys. We're just crash course Laban, we're gonna do it. Next effort factor is time. So pretend like your alarm went off and you were supposed to be on a Zoom call and you're not there, and you have to get everything ready, and you have to like, oh my gosh, you have to get like breakfast, you have to put your contacts in, and you gotta like wash your hair, and you're on a Zoom call, so you gotta put on like a reasonable shirt, you know, and it's like da 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 da. You don't have enough time, you're fighting time. You're fighting time, you're fighting time. Fight time, fight time, fight time, fight time. Okay, hold. That is quick time. It is about your inner attitude toward time. So in that moment, we felt we did not have enough time. There was not enough time. We were fighting time. My inner attitude toward time was very quick, very quick. So the opposite, believe it or not, is not slow, but rather, I have all the time in the world. So it's like when you eat like a chocolate covered strawberry and it's the best thing you've ever eaten. Oh, or you're like taking the greatest shower that you've ever taken. It's like warm and it feels so good. And you're just indulging in time. So it's not just this like manufactured slow motion, but rather your inner attitude toward time is indulgent. Or maybe you see someone you love like leaving on a train. I don't even know if people do this, but you're like waving and you want the moment to last forever. So you're just indulging in time, waiting for them. Or you're waking up in the morning, oh my gosh, and you're like, I just want to stay in bed all day, indulging in time, and just as you think you might be able to stay in bed all day, you realize, oh my gosh, I can't. Oh my gosh, I can't. I totally slept through my alarm. Oh my God, how did I hit stop? How did I even do this? And you're going into quick time, quick time, quick time, quick time, quick time. And then you get a phone call that the meeting was canceled. Oh, great. Indulge. Oh, I forgot to say, this is called sustained time. You're sustaining time. How wonderful. Great. So in time, we have quick, in which you are fighting against time, and sustained, in which you are indulging in time. So the next one is a little strange, but we're going to jump in. It's space. Okay, so space is about information. Space is about information. So wherever you are, find something and point directly at that thing. Good. Point at something else. Point at something else. One more thing. Now point with your elbow. Good. Point with your butt. Good. Point with your shoulder. Point with your ear. Okay? All of this is eliminating, like you have a laser beam and you are showing that laser beam at one tiny specific spot, one small, very deliberate and direct piece of information. And you can put this in any part of your body, okay? And this is called direct space. So you are eliminating everything and you're just fixating on the one spider that dared to be on your wall. Or you're looking at that one stain on your carpet and you're trying to figure out, where did that stain come from? Okay, direct space. You're eliminating all information and you're focusing on a really tiny piece of information. You're using your body to do it. The opposite, which a lot of people think is like squiggly, it's not. It's taking in everything. So maybe you're in your bedroom or your kitchen and you're going to try and take in all the walls at once. You're using your body to do it. Wow, okay. Or you're trying to like use your body to feel every air molecule in the whole room. Yeah, great. Or you're like spraying air freshener and you're filling the whole space. You're filling the whole space, and then all of a sudden you see a little spot on your wall. You want to just get it. You want to just rub that little spot with some soap, get it out. Why am I And then you realize that the spots are everywhere. They're all over. You're never gonna be able to clean. Or one of my favorite examples is you're looking up in the sky and you just see one bee. There's just one bee up there in the sky. Oh no, it's a swarm of bees. It's a ton of bees. Good, right. So this is the difference between direct and indirect. It's about our attitude or our physical response to information, right? So either a tiny direct piece of information, or we're taking in a ton of information, like you're at the Grand Canyon and you're just trying to take it all in. Good. We have one, so that was space. We have one more effort factor, and this one's a little bit challenging, but I'll try to talk you through it. It's called flow. Flow is our inner attitude toward control. So what does that mean? So it's like when you're really flexing and you know exactly where your arm is going, and you're really flexing all your muscles, you're in complete control. That is called bound flow. Bound flow. It's different than strong. Strong is using your weight against the world or against the environment. Bound flow is internal. It's you controlling your own movements by engaging your muscles, okay? So it's sort of like, if you think, I think of painters, and I think like Seurat, who was a pointillist, he probably had a lot of direct, but a lot of bound flow, a lot of control, a lot of control, a lot of control, okay? The opposite is free flow, free flow. So like, you're not binding any muscles, you're just like hanging out, you know. And I think if you're thinking of like a painter, like free flow is like Jackson Pollock, you know, he just like splash paint wherever it went, like great, love it, thank you, you know, thank you so much. So good. So you're like in your free flow, maybe you're like listening to music, and then all of a sudden the music stops, something is wrong, the lights are all on. What? Oh no, they're closing down for the night. If we can all remember what it might have been like to be at a nightclub however many months ago. Good. But then the music comes back on. So you're like back in free flow, and then bound flow, bound flow. Control everything. Flow is about your inner attitude toward control, Great. Okay, so now we're going to review everything, and we're going to move on, and we're going to great, Cheryl. So excited to learn about efforts. What am I going to do with this? Don't worry, I'll show you. So let's review first. Weight, our inner attitude toward our intention against the world. Find your strong weight. Find your strong weight. Strong weight. Sometimes I like to push against something, right? So you can feel yourself, push against a wall, push against a chair. Feel how your body, your weight is affecting change to this object. Good. Now switch into lightweight. You don't want to make an imprint anywhere. So you just, lightly touch. You can light your footprints. Don't even make anything. Your upper body is light. Your head, neck, and shoulders, they're light, they're floating. They're floating, lightweight, lightweight. Great. Now, let's go into time. So, time, remember, if you're fighting time, you are going quickly. So, find your quick time. There's not enough time. There's not enough time. There's not enough time. Quick time, quick time. Use your whole body. Use your whole body. Use your whole body. Head, neck, and shoulders. Use your lower body. Use your lower body. Quick time, quick time, quick time. And then sustain. You are indulging in time. You have all the time in the world. Oh, and you're savoring time. You're just enjoying it. And you're savoring every moment. Sustained time, sustained time. Great. Space, direct space. So I like to either point at something or just make my body very direct. Make your body very direct. Make your body very direct, very direct, very direct. Good, and then indirect. Take in the whole space, the whole space. Good, use your whole body. Find a lot of indirect. Oh, wow, this room is so big. If you're in a cathedral, like taking in the whole space of that cathedral. Awesome. And lastly, we have flow. Find your flow, bound flow. I think about Tai Chi and yoga, very bound. Even ballet can be very bound, yeah? So you're in complete control of your body. Bound flow. And then let it go, free flow. Free flow. You're gonna like move your arm, you don't even know where it's going. You're gonna like move your hips, you don't even know where they're gonna end up. Bound flow, free flow. Great. Awesome. I can see all my wonderful volunteers. And so I have these amazing apprentices and others who are joining in. And I'm going to call on them in a second. I'm going to first introduce a very short exercise of how to use this with Shakespeare text. Because we were going to do Midsummer, I have a little bit of Helena, even though maybe I'm past Helena age-wise, but I am 6 feet tall, and everybody loves a super tall Helena. I'm just putting it out there. So I have a little bit of Helena text. And what I'm going to do is first I'm going to find a little bit, sorry, a motorcycle outside. I'm going to find a little bit of a movement sequence that takes me from light to strong, okay? Something that I can repeat. So mine's going to look like this. I'm going to go up, light, to strong. And I'll repeat this a couple times. So my volunteers can do this at home. Add some breath to it. Something light, something strong, yeah? Then the next thing I'm going to do is add my text to it. So she has a line, I don't know if anybody else's favorite line is this line, but it's mine, where she goes, no, no. And then she says, I'm as ugly as a bear. We'll get there. So find your text with your movements and allow the movements to influence the way you are saying the line. So if I'm going light to strong, no, no. Do it a couple more times on your own. I'll do a couple more times, and then I will get a volunteer and show you some of our wonderful volunteers. No, 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 no. The key is to match your text with the movement. Okay, so I see all my wonderful volunteers. If you would be up for showing your just little thing, just put your hand up and I will see you. Great, Jordan, I see you. I'm gonna spotlight you and then unmute yourself. I think you're good. Good, and go ahead, take it away and show us just that first couple words or line.
Sure. Away, I do condemn mine ears that have so long attended thee.
That was awesome. Just stop at ears, do it one more time, and that was so great. Think about the weight affecting your pitch a little bit more.
Away, I do condemn mine ears.
Perfect, amazing. I'm gonna come back. Does anybody else want to give it a shot? Everybody can have a shot if they want. Kevin, I'm gonna come to you. Just unmute yourself. Great, go for it.
If these be motives weak, break off betimes.
Awesome, awesome. Do it one more time. Just slow down a little bit for me so we can hear every word.
If these be motives weak, break off betimes.
Excellent, awesome. I'm gonna take the spotlight off you, come back to me. Great, so you guys, perfect, exactly what we're looking for. We're now gonna move on into time, okay? So you're gonna start really fast. So find some movement that you can do really fast and that's so quick to sustained. So something that's like really quick and sustained. So find a little movement sequence that you can repeat a few times. And you can even use the exact same text if you want. I'm gonna move on. So if I went no, no, I'm gonna say, I am as ugly as a bear. I am as ugly as a bear. Good, do it a couple more times. And if anybody would like to volunteer, put your hand up and I will spotlight you. Great, Jonathan, coming to you. So go from your quick to sustained.
And delight no less in truth than life. What I am truly.
Amazing, awesome. Can you connect it a tiny bit more so you go right from the quick into the sustained?
And delight no less in truth than life. What I am truly.
Lovely, perfect. Anybody else want to give it a little shot? Kendra, I see you, I'm coming to you. Great.
Oh, I am out of breath in this fun chase. The more my prayer, the lesser is my grace.
Yes, Helena! Good, do it one more time. I love it so much. It's so perfect for her.
Oh, I am out of breath in this fun chase. The more my prayer, the lesser is my grace.
Yes, excellent, excellent. Good, I'm gonna come back to me. We're gonna move on. You guys are doing, I mean, it's incredible. I was like, oh, I don't know, we'll throw some folks in and you guys are nailing it. Okay, so now direct to indirect. Direct, so find yourself, give yourself a really direct movement, open it up to an indirect movement. Something really direct and indirect. Do it a couple more times and then we'll start to add our text. Good, so if I just said, no, I'm as ugly as a bear, I'm gonna do, for beasts that meet me, for beasts that meet me. Good, so repeat that a couple times to get your text with the movement. So allow the direct and indirect to influence the way you are saying the line. Yes, oh my gosh. So whenever someone is ready, give me a little hand. Great, Jacob, can I come to you? Excellent, thank you.
Peace, you ungracious clamors.
Nice, great, excellent. Can you, so one of the things I love about this work is it helps us also with vocal variety. I did this to someone else, I can't remember who. Work on pitch. So change your pitch a little bit more.
Peace, you ungracious clamors.
Awesome, perfect. No, it's great. It doesn't have to be right. It's not the way you're gonna do it in a show. It's just something to explore. Well, who else? Somebody else, one more person, even if you already went. Okay, Allison, coming to you.
She did disdain my child and stood between her and her fortunes.
Yes, excellent, excellent. When you get to indirect, can you make it even more indirect, like more extreme? Your direct is perfect though. Try it again.
She did disdain my child and stood between her and her fortunes.
Absolutely astounding. I loved it. I love it so much. Is that Winter's Tale?
It's Pericles.
Oh, Pericles, sorry. Okay, last one, flow. Last one is flow. So you're gonna find something like really bound, really free. Really bound, really free. Whatever you want, just make it bound and free. Bound and free. Let me think of my text. So for beasts that meet me, I would do run away for fear. Do run away for fear. You can do this a couple more times, really allowing, again, the movement to influence your voice. So one of the things we're looking for is this really extreme and very, very varied vocal variety, which some of the Laban work can help us find. All right. So is there anybody else who would like to volunteer and just show me? You don't have to. Jordan, I'm going to come back to you. Thank you.
Oh, wait. I do condemn mine ears.
Oh my gosh. Yes, yes. Perfect. I love it so much. Do it. Just do it one more time, but it's great.
Oh, wait. I do condemn mine ears.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it. Another volunteer, just one more. Allison, coming to you again.
None would look on her, but cast their gazes on Marina's face.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Do it one more time. It's great. It's great.
None would look on her, but cast their gazes on Marina's face.
Perfect. 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 So I'm gonna bring everybody. I'm gonna re-spotlight myself. We bring everybody back just for a second. So one of the things that I really love about what we just saw was we saw this explosion of tactics. So one of the things, I recruit for an MFA program, so I see a lot of Shakespeare monologues, and especially young actors, they get caught in one tactic for lines and lines and lines. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So doing this work can help you break up the tactics, and it can add some variety, because when all of these characters are fighting for something in a pretty high stakes way, and when you are fighting for something in a high stakes way, you do not settle on one thing and just go for it. You're trying everything you've got to get what you need from this other person in that moment. And this is a way to start to find some tactics that, like, maybe Cheryl doesn't do that, but man, maybe, Mistress Quickly does, right? So just for fun, I won't have you do too many, but see if you can put a couple in a row. So like, I'm gonna do wait into time. So I'll try to remember what I did. It doesn't even really matter, but my light into strong and my quick to sustained. I'll do this a few more times. Light into strong, quick into sustained. Then you'll add your text. No, I am as ugly as a bear. No, I am as ugly as a bear. Good, I'm gonna give everybody just a second to work that out. And even if we can just get like one valiant volunteer to show me their sequence, that would be great. If you think you've got something, give me a little wave. Oh, Jonathan, I see you. I'm coming to Jonathan. He's gonna show us his sequence.
Macduff, this noble passion, child of integrity hath from my soul.
Yes, excellent. Do it one more time. Beautiful.
Macduff, this noble passion, child of integrity hath from my soul.
Nice, nice. Really lovely work. Anybody else, like one more, like a one tiny more? Oh my gosh, Kendra, yes.
Oh, and now the breath and the spine chase, the more my prayer, the lesser is my.
Beautiful, beautiful. One more time.
Oh, now the breath and the spine chase, the more my prayer, the lesser is my grace.
Excellent. I love it. Okay, team, we're gonna do one more tiny thing. We may not even get all the way through it. But then it's like, okay, Cheryl, great. I have this huge movement sequence to do with my monologue, but I can't do that. I can't do that in an audition. It's not, they're gonna think I'm gonna be a dance call. Here's the thing. you can take the essence of that movement and distill it down so that you're still having a full body experience with a variety of tactics, but it doesn't have to be dialed up to 11. So if I were going to take my light to strong, so if I were like, no, and then I was like, okay, I'll dial it to 50. No, dial it back even more. No, even a tiny bit more. No. And it suddenly becomes something that you could do, right? So take one snippet of your piece. You can use weight, time, flow. What's the other one, you guys? Space. You could use any of them. Start with it really big, and then just kind of bring it smaller and smaller, and so that you are still in your full body. You are still engaging everything, but that you're making it something that looks a little bit less like a dance piece and a little bit more like a true expression of this text. So take a moment to do that, and then I'll ask for just 2 more volunteers and we'll wrap up. So you could do quick to sustained. I am as ugly as a bear. And if you brought it really tiny, I am as ugly as a bear. It's like my favorite line in all of Shakespeare. It's probably not the prettiest, but that's okay. Do I have any volunteers of someone who's brought it down, who's gotten it small? Allison, I love it. I love that hand raise, and I'm into it. So we're throw it to you.
None would look on her, but cast their gazes on Marina's face.
That is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Dial it. So it's like, in my mind, like say that's like 25, and now take it like, and to be honest, if I were directing, I love everything big, but maybe you have a director who doesn't. Maybe you have a director, or you're in a small space, right? So dial it to 10%.
None would look on her, but cast their gazes on Marina's face.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I love it. I love it. Love it. Like one more person, like somebody, like one more person wants to go so bad, right? Oh my gosh, Jordan. Yes. I love like the sneaky hand raise. It's great.
Wait, I do condemn mine ears that have so long attended thee.
So beautiful. I'm going to give you a funny note, which is you can bring back a tiny bit more of your body. I thought vocally it was spot on. Bring a little bit more physicality to it, just a tiny bit.
Wait, I do condemn mine ears that have so long attended thee.
That is it. If I were directing, I'd be like, yes, yes, yes. Love it. Love it. Okay, I'm going to bring it back to me. So basically, we are learning these qualities of movement, not because they're so earth-shattering, but they might be some things that we don't do in our everyday lives, right? Or you might have a bias or a way that you move, and when you start to act, all of a sudden that becomes how that character moves. And this helps you break that pattern, explore, and find different ways to do things. So nothing we did today is set in stone. The point of this work is not to do exactly what you did in the exploration process, but rather really find what, that doesn't really work. Oh gosh, this really works. I'm so glad I discovered this. Oh, if I slow down the text here, it has this different meaning and all that other stuff. So thank you so much. I'm happy to do a question and answer. I know it's possible that people were writing in questions, or it might be with you guys, or if Grant wants to pop in and just tell me a little bit, or it could be questions from people who are on the call.
He's coming. He's here. Hi.
You're fine. Great.
I'm like, press video. Mm-hmm.
No problem.
It is. We're going to have time for these particular artists to respond to you. We're having a feed problem. So we do have it up and running now, though not as originally intended. It is now on the Facebook event. So folks can watch it on our Facebook event for Cheryl Turski. We did get that up and running. YouTube frowns at us, though, so that's, we'll sort that out. Thank you for being willing to go first, Cheryl Turski. God bless you.
Sure.
We should open it up to your team, and I know some of this may have been perhaps a welcome review for some of our graduate level students and recent, MFA grads. But I'm curious to know kind of how much of it was or what questions the work you just did prompted in any of you. So please feel free. You can wave at the camera. There's Jonathan. Go ahead, dude.
All right. Well, first off, thank you so much for the session. I always find Laban efforts to be super useful. You said it towards the end about like we have our own biases as we speak. Like for me, as you can see, like I'm a very hands person when I talk, and that is not always the character choice or like appropriate for the situation. How do you, especially when you're like first learning about Laban efforts, understand what are my habits and like do you recommend like writing them down so you can be more aware of them? Like any thoughts about awareness of biases, I guess?
So, excellent question. Couple things. One, if you do the work repeatedly, you will find that there are certain efforts that you really like to do. And you'll be like, oh gosh, or like you'll just be like, oh, I'm gonna go quick. I'm gonna do quick again. I'm gonna do quick. And then you should be like, oh, that's interesting. I really like quick, or I really like sustained, or I really like strong. One of the things that I find really useful and can be very, very challenging, but if you have a cohort of people that you trust, and if you're using the Laban language, which again is non-judgmental, right? I just watched you do that piece. Gosh, you really were in strong weight for a lot of it, right? Or I noticed that you really use a lot of quick time, okay? So it's a way to not coach your fellow actors, but to give them a little bit of feedback in a non-judgmental, objective way. And you might say, oh gosh, I didn't notice that about myself, but I trust that that's what you saw, and I'm going to work to find some lightweight or some sustained time. Another thing you can do, if you, this is really scary, is you can record yourself. So we all have an idea of how we sound and how we look, and then we'll watch a video of ourselves and we're like, oh wow, oh that's different, or that's not how I felt that was, I thought I looked, or how I sounded. And you can start to even track, oh wow, I'm really bound flow, or I'm really free flow. And none of it's bad, by the way. It's all useful. It's all useful. And sometimes I say to my students that you have a bias, and sometimes I say, you're an expert, like you're an expert in QuickTime, and you should go hang out with Matt because he's an expert in sustained time. And maybe the two of you can help each other figure out this other effort for some of your character work. It also helps with clarity too, right? So if you're like always strong, direct, and quick, that can be a lot. And like overwhelming if it's line after line after line after line. And breaking that up will help the audience stay with you. I hope that answered your question.
Oh, it's really helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, I really encourage my students to, I know it's challenging, right? Because it's really hard to get feedback from like people, your peers. But if you can do it in an objective way, then it doesn't quite feel like critique. It feels like, this is what I just saw, right? This is what I just saw. And maybe that's actually the right choice, Or maybe you want to think about sprinkling in some sustained time or something like that. Anything, thank you though, great question, love it. Jordan, I'm gonna spotlight you very quickly.
Yep.
Absolutely, thank you. I just had a question on when you're exploring, I guess particularly some pretty heavy Shakespeare characters that are just not where you live as a person. Do you have any insight or guidance on stepping out of some of these energy qualities or efforts so that you don't really get caught in that, since that's not where you live as a person? Is there any step out rituals that you have or anything like that?
So you're for safety is sort of what you're thinking, like to protect yourself.
Yes.
Or I would even add, if I can offer, if you feel a little trapped in that in a particular performance, as well as the more prominent safety concerns. Does that help?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such an amazing thought, and one that we're sort of thinking about more and more, I would say one of the best things to do is to find a space, a physical space where you can be totally neutral after performance, and maybe find some meditative qualities. So we all have things that we gravitate towards. For some people, it's going to be music, laying down on the floor, or actually, this is a Laban term that I really love, or not term, but a concept. Everything in Laban has duality. So as we learned with light and strong, one of the things Laban talks about a lot is work or effort. So not effort like we just talked about, but like work and recuperation. And Laban's definition of recuperation is not rest, it is change. So if you found that you were getting stuck in a character and it was taking a toll emotionally and physical on you, what you would want to do is find the direct opposite of that character and live there, even just for a few minutes. Again, it could be rest, right? So if it might be that you've been really, really active with a certain character, or really bound flow, or really strong. And what you need to find is some rest. More often, you need to find recuperation. So for sometimes we're in theaters a lot. That means go outside. You know what I mean? Like, take a walk around the block, even if it's cold, because you need to be outside. Or you've been one-on-one with another person on stage for 2 hours. You might need to spend some time alone, right? Because it's not necessarily rest, it's just you need the change. Recuperation is change. So that's another thing that I've really gravitated towards is sometimes when I'm exhausted, what I actually need to do is go out with friends, even though that feels like more energy. Sometimes I'm exhausted because I've been working alone so hard, right? And I need recuperation, I need a change, I need to be around other people. The other thing I would say in terms of just being safe is when I'm working with my actors on tactical variety and movement variety, it's incredible, it hits very hard, it's very deep. And I try to constantly remind us that we're practicing, right? We're sort of practicing tactics and movements. And even when they hit us really hard, to remember that they are like push-ups. Like we're doing the workout of being an actor. We're honing the craft of being an actor. And that the situation in the play, especially Shakespeare and like Greek, oh my gosh, the situation in the play, we don't ever have to, we don't have to know what Lady M went, like we don't have to go through what Lady M went through. We can start to find her tactical choices in a high stakes way without having to, go through her experience. I hope that helps. Is that somewhat helpful?
It did. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Others?
And any other questions? Kevin, I'm coming to you.
This is sort of just like a personal curiosity. How often have you been able to just use Laban language without having to review it in a rehearsal space? Or have you ever been in that situation, or is it always sort of like real quick workshop and then now we can use Laban language going forward?
There's a couple, well, one, keep in mind, I also teach at university. So like, with my own students, I was like, you better remember this. So that's like, different, that's a different thing. In the professional world, one of the other benefits, I think, of the Laban stuff is that, as you could tell, a lot of the language is intuitive, right? So strong feels strong and light feels light. So sometimes I can just toss it in, and often actors get it. And if not, I'll demo it. So just like when voice teachers are demoing sound shifts themselves, I'll demo something, and then a lot, especially professional actors, they're like, oh, this, they do it better than you do it. And you're like, yes, that, yes, please, more of that, thank you. Yeah, it's very rare for people to have like extensive movement backgrounds. So, I'm using, and also sometimes we'll say things 500 ways, whatever's gonna resonate with the actor. Grant, were you jumping in?
No, I was just gonna say, so yes, sorry. I was just going to say that one of the phrases that I have found that actors kind of on which they typically they pick up immediately is flick. it's just one of the terms that they go, oh yeah, I can kind of flick and dab. Those are two that they just kind of immediately go, aha. Even if they haven't had much, as you say, they can kind of intuit and then move toward that. Yeah. Don't know whether it's been my experience.
Definitely. Anything else? Or I don't know. I'm not sure how we are on time, but
We're doing fine. So we can kind of move things toward a conclusion. I'll share a silly little story of the first time I went and explored some Laban movement in performance. I got a chance to play Salieri with the Notre Dame Symphony, which was great fun. And because we had an orchestra, I could turn back, and say, Maestro, could you give me a note or two, right? And I remembered making use of press in particular, as this particular refrain, I think, from the Mozart's Requiem is very this somber music, and I could kind of press that into place as Salieri turned around to engage the audience. And I remembered press from an initial class of this, and then just went and began exploring its use, in performance. I think it creeped people out. It was great fun for me. So you can never hear if people are laughing. That's the thing in Zoom. I'm just going to assume no one ever does. But the great fun of that was the exploration. And then also just in terms of feeling whether or not you're picking up a reaction from fellow performers or from audience. But that was my first time of really trying those out and playing with them kind of outside in, even though you use text to bring them to the fruition. That talked a little bit to see if anybody else wanted to kind of toss something in or had further questions of the phenomenal Cheryl Turski. Should we give her some air applause? Yeah, you guys want to do that a little bit like that? It's Theater of Death.
And just to sort of clarify what Grant's talking about, which was like a slightly more advanced Laban experience, Grant. So I'm thrilled with you. Is we just did the separate qualities, right? So light is one quality, strong is one quality. When you combine qualities, so like light, direct, and sustained, that's when you get what we would call basic effort actions. So press, for example, is strong, direct, sustained, which is what Grant was talking about. So again,
I forgot direct. I remembered strong and sustained, but I did forget direct. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just, you guys next time, we'll toss them together. But yeah, I know people were maybe writing in questions, maybe not.
Yeah, and I'll double check on that because we're a little bit ahead of the live feed. And I just wanted to verify it. Yeah, and we are current and up to date. And so these are the ones we've got, which is awesome. Cool. There we go. This session will be up and available for a year. So through July 1 of 2021. And so if you've got folks who weren't able to participate or who hadn't heard of Laban, we don't, it's not something that we use, shall we say, religiously at Notre Dame. These are the jokes, ladies and gentlemen. And however, it does creep in, and it is something that, as Cheryl mentioned, can help contextualize some of the things either between actors or in discussion with your director. And so it does come up, and I think it's very helpful not only for apprentices but for folks who are out there in the working actor world, insofar as and as soon as it resumes its life, which it soon shall. In the meantime, I'm very, very grateful that we were able to meet here in this virtual realm. I'm tremendously grateful for Cheryl Turski. Not for the first time by any stretch of the imagination. And so thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, apprentices. And please do share this about. On Thursday, we'll see the young men from DePaul Academy at the Juvenile Justice Center here in South Bend, Indiana, performing scenes from the Scottish play. I'm not in the theater, I can say it. It's Macbeth. And they're rocking it, and that's going to be a lot of fun. That is also at 7 o'clock, as are all of the offerings that you'll see in our series. And so unless I'm seeing any hands, and I don't think I'm seeing any at this particular point, I'm going to bid you all a very fond good night. Thank you very much to those of you watching on our various social media feeds and or throughout the next year. We are looking forward to seeing you back in our theaters or our found green spaces out on tour with the touring company. Thanks, everybody. Good night, all.